Okay, I get it. Marksmanship deals a lot of damage. I feel like I need more beasts though, with my arrows. I want more beasts. I want more beasts coming out of my butt. Or... Sure. Or, you know, we could just give the viewer the talents, legendaries, covenants, and conduits, and more. Yes, more too. Let's kick it. But really, we do aim to give you the best info to help you pick up your BM as quick as possible. And we would be eternally grateful if you would subscribe and click the bell thingy. We know you know and heard about this a million times, which just proves how important 2 clicks can be for YouTube nerds. No, really, appreciate you taking the time for this, so enjoy the rest of the video. On the first row, go with Animal Companion. Why? Well, the pet of a BM Hunter is a beast, pun intended, so more should be better, right? At the very least, it deals the most amount of damage out of this entire row, and really, that's all that matters anyway, right? Your second pet will replicate kill command attacks, but will not use family-specific abilities. It will also deal 35% less damage than a normal pet, so, you know, it's good. On the second row, we make room for the new guy, Scent of Blood. This baby makes pressing Bestial Wrath award you with 2 charges of Barb Shot. Not only does it increase the uptime on Frenzy, it also changes and smoothens out your opener by letting you get to 3 stacks of Frenzy almost instantly. Takes a bit to get used to it, but overall feels pretty good when you get to press Bestial Wrath mid-rotation. The third row is more utility based, and all options have specific uses. Natural Mending will be good in pretty much every scenario, especially at the start where you are gearing yourself or progressing through tough content. There is a lot of damage that happens in the raid that affects everyone, as well as the prideful affix in dungeons, which makes Exhilaration really useful. Trailblazer and Camouflage have their uses, although specific, and as long as you are sure you can put any option to good use, pick whatever you want. Moving down, you have Thrill of the Hunt as the best choice on the row. Every Barb Shot cast will give you a stacking 3% crit chance with a max of 3 stacks. Seeing as how maintaining Frenzy will be your main goal in your rotation, this one will go hand in hand with it since, you know, they both stack at the same way and rate and last for just as long. Crit also helps resetting Barb Shot cooldown through the Wild Call passive. And with Scent of Blood giving you more barbed shots overall, the value of this talent is all the more ingrained in your builds. The level 40 talent row is again a pretty much free choice for you. We recommend Post Haste to start with. It has universal applications and the burst of speed is always useful. Born to be Wild is good in situations where you want your cooldowns up faster to time with certain boss phases, while Binding Shot can have uses in dungeons where you need to help your tank kite the mobs. Any option here has uses. Go with what you like best. Next up, Stomp is the only go-to. All the other options are underwhelming and underperforming by a significant margin, enough to not see play anytime soon. I honestly wish Stampede would make it back into the game, but the consistency of Stomp, both for single target and also AoE damage, is undeniably good. Lastly, you have 2 viable options on the last row. Aspect of the Beast will excel in all situations, especially in dungeons. The effect is pretty much straightforward, more pet damage, which is where the majority of your overall throughput comes from anyway. It's the easy one to play and a safe pick. However, if you want a little more yeah, put this in the video now, man. I want to see you try it. Oh, fuck, you're gonna do it, aren't you?
Girl, are you crazy? Yeah, you must be crazy.
However, if you want a little more single target damage for those pesky raid bosses, Bloodshed is yet another new talent to play with. With a 1-minute cooldown, this adds a lot of priority damage, which tends to be the focus in raids more than anywhere else. A quick informative list would include item level or agility at the top, at least for the beginning on any expansion. Moving on, we have haste next, which is actually very close to critical strike, with versatility lower down the list and mastery last. This is a pure informative list aimed at giving you a point of reference. Thing is, the only real way to know what stats are best when comparing two items of the same eye level and same number of sockets is to sim yourself. Secondary stats have diminishing returns now, meaning that stacking one to absurd amounts will net you worse results than finding a, more balanced way to distribute these stats on your character. Even so, this is a safe way to start from, and even my Shoddy Hunter has the same stat weights, such as this, which clearly shows how good agility is versus everything else, making eye level clearly the most important thing to upgrade towards. Starting with the weapon, you want infragreen reflex sight. This will be your haste enchant of choice for the weapon anyway. It's a scope actually, but whatever. While getting Eternal Skirmish for the chest with an extra added bonus of Heavy Desolate Armor Kit is gonna rock your world. Kind of, it's just that. On your boots, look for Eternal Agility, cause, agility. And for the cloak, which uses only defensive enchants, Fortified Avoidance will be ideal to negate AoE damage. As long as haste will be your main secondary stat, Quick Jewel Cluster will be your gem of choice, and Tenet of Haste as your ring enchant. Use the Potion of Spectral Agility for general combat situations, and the Spectral Flask of Power for the main stat buff once more. Shadow Core Oil will cover up all your alchemical needs. Last but not least, your food of choice is the Feast of Gluttonous Hedonism, or the cheaper alternative in Tenebros Crown Roast Aspic, at least for raids, since in dungeons you will go with the haste food most of the time, unless you are a rich son of a gun. Until future buffs and nerfs, the Night Fae Covenant is the best for Beast Mastery and likely for all Hunter specs. To top it off, Nia is also the best Soulbind as well as the first one you unlock, so pretty good. Wild Spirits is an amazing ability that does high damage in single target and rockets you off the map in AoE. This is the beginning of the patch and expansion, and Wild Spirits outperforms the other abilities by so much that a change in balance wouldn't be entirely surprising, although Resonating Arrow is a close contender already. At first, you will only have access to one conduit, and it will most of the time be Spirit Attunement. This makes your Wild Call do a lot more damage. If you have chosen a different covenant for whatever reason, Bloodletting is another very good option, especially at first when you are still gearing up. One with the Beast will also be a good replacement that could scale pretty well later on, as do all percentage increasing bonuses. The best way to figure out what trinket is better for you, either by comparing with the ones you have or finding out which one to farm, is by simming with raidboss.com or checking websites like bloodmallet.com. There is no one answer for all players, but there are a few trinkets worth mentioning. Hateful Chain seems to perform well and is accessible from the Sludge Fist boss. The damage proc, for being at a higher health percentage than your target, is almost guaranteed, seeing as how BM is one of the safest specs in the game, mainly because you can do your entire rotation while moving, hence dodging mechanics. Dreadfire Vessel seems to output amazing damage for almost all DPS specs in the game, and Beast Mastery is no different. This drops from the big guy himself, Sire Denathrius. The Inscrutable Quantum Device, or the question mark trinket, or how we like to call it, the trinket, never gonna get tired of that, drops from the other side and has some of the best procs in the game. Yeah, procs, as in plural. It has a few conditions that decide which proc you get, but mostly it's about a huge amount of critical strike. Stone Legion Heraldry can be one of the better ones once your raid has a few people wearing this for the stacking versatility buff. The best legendary for BM has to be one of the coolest they ever designed, at least from a mechanical perspective. Soulforge Ember will output the most amount of damage in all situations and has a unique way of proccing. You have to fire a tar trap down and shoot a flare into it. This causes the tower to light on fire and burn all enemies in it. Pretty fucking cool. Wish they would do more mechanics like this one. But hey, maybe you don't like this playstyle and are okay to sacrifice a bit of damage for a more seamless option like Rylak Stalker's Piercing Fangs. This is all passive, giving your pet extra critical damage while Bestial Wrath is active, which is nothing to scoff at. Either way, you can sim legendaries, as with everything else concerning gear, and see which one is better in what situation. Just pick Soulforge Embers though, it's way too cool. Assuming you have the Legendary and the pure single target Talon build, you start the rotation with Aspect of the Wild 1.5 seconds before the pool. Put a Tar Trap down, followed by a Flare and the Wild Spirit's Covenant ability. Use 2 Barb Shot charges, Bloodshed, and Bestial Wrath next, another Barb Shot, and finish with Kill Command. After this, you continue with the normal rotation, which is essentially a priority list of which ability should be pressed before the others in what situation. The idea of this opener is to have your buffs up pre-pool and your legendary effect active underneath the boss. Some rotations see Bloodshed popped right after Aspect of the Wild, so you can just test some things out. If you use any other Covenant, you can use that Covenant's ability right before you Kill Command. Add 1 stack of Frenzy, and keeping it from dropping and not capping on Barb Shot charges is the most important aspect of your rotation, so Barb Shot. Bloodshed is your second priority, followed by Aspect of the Wild, which can be delayed up to 15 seconds if it will stack with Bestial Wrath. Tar Trap and Flare to activate your Legendary are next on the list, with Wild Spirits right after. Use all Barb Shot charges if Bestial Wrath is available. Kill Shot once the target gets in execute range. Kill Command next. Use Barbed Shot here if the target has a full charge of Frenzy that won't expire soon, but your second charge of Barb Shot is almost ready to use. Cobra Shot only when Kill Command has more than 2 seconds cooldown left, or to prevent focus capping. For AoE, you still want to cast Barb Shot to prevent Frenzy from dropping or to not cap on charges. Multi-Shot next to activate Beast Cleave on 3 or more targets. Tar Trap and Flare combo next, Aspect of the Wild followed by Wild Spirits in terms of priority. Use all Barb Shot charges again before popping Bestial Wrath right after. Use Kill Shot still, Kill Command next in the priority, Multi-Shot next if you don't have Beast Cleave and there are only 2 targets present, Barb Shot to prevent capping on charges, Cobra Shot only above 90 focus if Beast Cleave is already active. Every spec in the game can be dived into for more details and the ability to master it. We recommend you check the True Shot Lodge Discord community for the advanced stuff, since we focus on the basics and fundamentals in our guides. You can check Impact's guide on Wowhead, where the man goes more in depth with everything that can raise your performance to the next level. And also thank you Impact for helping us fact check the guide a little bit more. And if you want the more advanced in that stuff, check the man out. And of course, thank you to our patrons for supporting the content. We love you guys so much. It actually makes us able to do a lot of stuff with your support. And if you're the viewer, have made it this far and you found this video useful and you want to, help out a little bit more, you can check the Patreon link down below. It's not required, but it does help us out and makes our dream a reality. Thank you very much, and see you in the next video.
I've been loving it then, I still love it now. Still, I play WoW. Still, I play WoW. Getting better every day, let me show you how. Cause still, I play WoW. Still, I play WoW. It's getting harder to stay, but at the end of the day, it's a guilty pleasure, so just log in and play. Whether it's classic or retail, I'ma do a /bow. Still, I play WoW.